Hey everyone, welcome to talk show number 19. So, on my way from my office to downtown Mountain View at Castro, I saw a Waymo little buggy. I don't know what else to call them, but self-driving cars are cool. So, let's answer some more scenario questions. Scenario 1, SDC versus bad behaving humans. I'm sure taxi drivers and like Uber Lyft drivers have to deal with people who smoke, even though the drivers definitely don't want that. It makes the car really stinky. Or people who are so drunk that they'll like barf in the car. Now, I I feel like with a human driver, other humans would feel some sort of empathy or cooperation, such that they are less likely to do that sort of stuff. But if you take the human driver out of the equation and you now have a computer, maybe people won't be as reserved about doing something really terrible on a self-driving car. In which case, how would a self-driving car monitor that? Would they like try to scan people before they come in? Would a self-driving car have like a smoke detector or like a heat detector if in case people are doing their business in the back? Yeah, like these are interesting questions. And then is that there's no driver on board to monitor this behavior. I'm sure like you can install security cameras on the cars and then there's like a headquarters for I don't know, a self-driving car company that would monitor this stuff. But what if it happens very routinely and then you have to keep pulling the car out of like its normal runs so that you can clean it off? Yeah, that's a really tough question to answer. Scenario 2, SDC versus unhappy humans. So, along the same lines as scenario 1, what if once self driving cars are launched, the human drivers are very, very angry at the self driving cars to the point where they might sabotage them by intentionally blocking them or destroying them? And that's a possibility because I remember a situation in Paris a few years back when when Uber started becoming popular, the taxi drivers were trying to revolt against that. And, one question you might ask is, why hasn't this happened for factory jobs that have seen a lot of automation? I feel like it's because factory jobs are quite invisible compared to self-driving cars, which are intentionally visible because cars can have to be seen by other cars, right? So that's kind of something self-driving car companies will have to really address, the social factor of jobs being taken away. And you can't have a police car following a self-driving car, otherwise what's the point of the car being self-driving, right? So eventually I think society will, you know, discover that they want some equilibrium between automation and people doing very manual jobs. Scenario 3, SDC versus hackers. As you may know, hackers can destroy computer systems when given the opportunity, and the self-driving car can be especially vulnerable because there's a huge tech stack, starting from the networking between the self-driving car and the remote server, which has to be encrypted, all the way down to the gears that are interacting with each other to power the car physically, right? So you can imagine there's a lot of software and firmware in between that hackers can exploit. So, without going into details of all the different attack vectors that are possible, I'll just bring up an interesting scenario. So, one feature that'd be really cool for self-driving cars is to provide some sandboxed app, maybe Android Auto style, such that users who walk into the car can then play their own music or access their own accounts, social media or whatever. But then, what if a hacker maliciously plants a corrupted file into this sandboxed environment somehow? And then other users who are unsuspecting will then walk in, try to connect their devices to that sandboxed environment, and then incidentally downloads a corrupted file. That could be disastrous. Conclusions. it's hard to add features onto software that has made a lot of design assumptions. And similarly, it's hard to introduce self-driving cars to a world that has been designed assuming that drivers are always human. So I propose that we create a new interdisciplinary field called self-driving car studies that combines all computer science with sociology, economics, and yada yada yada. And who knows, maybe I'll write a book or become a professor. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was very fun. Maybe I'll continue the self-driving car discussions when I get inspired by seeing another one of those self-driving cars with the little camera hats. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.